I want them to experience me. I want them to experience the way I do it.
I was scoping out the guys who I knew that were the professionals, in other words. All right. And it was very, very easy to pick out Mocha and Dimitri. They stood out. They had that aura, you know. And I knew that I wasn't going to like approach them to talk to them or anything like that.
This podcast contains explicit adult content, mature themes, and candid conversations about sex, dominance, power exchange, and ethical non-monogamy. It is intended for audiences 18 and over only. Listener discretion is advised. The views expressed by our guests are theirs alone and do not necessarily reflect the views or values of the hosts, producers, or affiliated brands. The Bull Brotherhood podcast is for educational, entertainment, and empowerment purposes only. Nothing in this podcast should be interpreted as legal advice, medical guidance, or psychological counseling. We speak from experience, not credentials. Always practice consent, respect the boundaries of others, and follow local laws. If you're not comfortable with frank talk about sex, kink, dominance, or emotional power, this probably isn't the show for you. But if you're ready to step into your masculine edge and embrace a lifestyle that demands mastery, welcome to the Brotherhood.
Welcome to the Bull Brotherhood podcast, where we talk power, pleasure, and the art of dominance in ethical non-monogamy. This is not your average lifestyle podcast. This is for men who lead, men who master, and men who leave a lasting impression. If you're here, you're not just curious. You're ready to elevate. So to all the bulls, hot wives, stags, and open-minded explorers, we see you. Let's go.
Oh yeah, claim the mind, train the body on the soul, deep connections built on trust.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to another exhilarating episode of the Bull Brotherhood podcast. I'm Brian Morgan, aka the Sigma Male, the lone wolf himself, coming at you with my nephew, the perpetual student, Socrates. What's up, dog?
What's up, y'all?
All right. And ladies and gentlemen, tonight we welcome back from the O Faces podcast, the executive director, the CEO himself. I call him Doc Gable. Everybody else knows him as Mr. Mocha. What's up, baby boy?
What's going on, guys? I appreciate the invite as always. How's it going, fellas?
Wonderful here, baby. Wonderful. And again, thank you for cutting into your quality time and coming to help us out. I guess with Socrates, a question tonight or how you want a question? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to turn it over to Socrates. He's going to be our moderator tonight with this. Mr. Mocha and I, we're going to be answering questions together as one, as well as from a alpha bull's point of view and a sigma male's point of view. All right, so here, take it over, nephew.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's good, y'all? What's going on? So,
all right.
No, nothing much, man.
Yeah. So, this is really, for those that don't know, man, these are my boys, these are my counsel, these are my war council gentlemen that I talk to, strategize approaches from business to how to interact with these beautiful ladies that we get to interact with in this lifestyle. And so I was listening to another podcast and they were presenting the things that they do and the thought process and the process that they go to give a couple a really good experience. And I was vibing off it. I was like, yeah, I like the idea. And I like this idea. And, but something hit me. Something was like a voice in my head. And I was like, I don't know if it's Brian's in the back of my head or Mr. Mocha's in the back of my head, but it was like, that's too much work. It was like, hey man, you run some businesses, you travel, bro. Like, I don't know if you can do all that. And I was thinking, you know what? I don't know what my boys would say about that. Not that what the person was saying was wrong, because I admire that podcast and what they were saying. It was more of like, well, what fits the approach that the Bull Brotherhood has? And so I called my boy Unc up. He was busy at the time, so I called Mr. Mocha, and we started discussing the difference between their approach and Mr. Mocha's approach. And I said, I said, I think you do it a little differently, don't you? And that's where you broke it down. So did you want to kind of explain?
Well, I think you got to first, you got to set that, you got to, what's the other approach?
Exactly.
Because they don't have a point of reference.
Right. So, what it is their basic, we talked about it for a bit. We talked about having tools in your toolbox. And we always encourage everybody, have tools in your toolbox. Learn how to read people's body language. Learn how to read the room. Learn how to interact. Wash your ass. All those kind of things. But the paradigm that we were saying is, and what Mr. Mocha was saying is, that bull who's putting that effort in, and a lot of the challenges that I was having was about, my mentality is, I'm trying to get on their program. Where I got a couple, they have whatever program they got going on, and I'm trying to get in where I fit in. And that's a lot of work. And Mr. Mocha said, well, I have a little different one. I'm trying to see, what do I need to do, or what do I need to present, or how do I need to present this to where they feel comfortable and feel and they feel like I'm trustworthy enough for them to get on mine. So that's the subject we're going to talk about, is the program, right? And it blew my mind. I was like, oh my goodness, that's it. Everywhere I felt like I was having consistent challenges or putting a whole lot of energy for shaky or unreliable or this not the same kind of energy back, I realized I was spending my whole time trying to get qualified for their program, as opposed to having an actual program that's really concise for me and saying, well, what do I got to get to do to help them understand that we're going to have a great time if you get on my program. Am I explaining that right, Mr. Mocha?
So I think that when you call me, you're basically saying that, because I don't think everybody understands the concept of programs and things like that. So when he called me, he was saying that he had listened to something or podcast, and they were talking about having different approaches and different ways to approach different types of couples within the lifestyle. Because, in the hot wife community and the cuckold community in particular, that it's not one set type of couple. It's not one set type of dynamic. But as a guy, we're dudes. So it's rare that we're only looking for one particular type of couple. We may have one or two dynamics that we prefer, but oftentimes, if you walk into a room with 100 couples, you have 100 different dynamics. So when you called me, you're saying that based upon the information you heard, they refer to different approaches and different tactics and techniques as tools, and having a lot of tools in your tool bag so that you can adapt to the couples that you want to play with.
Exactly.
So I'm not sure if I should make the analogy that I made before.
We'll send all the email complaints to you. Go for it. Go for it.
You are on the Bull Brotherhood podcast, my brother.
All right.
I'm expecting you to be you. Okay.
Okay. Remember
You understand? Yes, exactly. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, any ass chewings that you want to throw out? Okay. My ass is narrow, but I can take every last one of them. All you sitting there, I can take every last one of them. I take every last one. I took enough for 24 years in the United States military. I can take some more. Okay, so I want to know. Well, this is who we are. So Mocha, take it. All right, go with it.
All right. So I said my analogy was you have two different vehicles. I'm not trying to get into their vehicle. What I'm trying to do is lure them into my kidnapper van. Like, I just need to lure you into my van because I am not. I want to be adaptable in conversation and fluid and interaction, but I want them to experience me. I want them to experience the way I do it. We have these conversations on a regular basis. There's levels to this. There's levels to the type of couple you meet. There's levels to the type of woman or male or whatever you like to interact with. There's levels to it. There is that level where it's like, okay, I had, and then we gonna start at I had an okay time. Yeah, I met this person, this couple, and it was cool. And then the far extreme is, oh my God, I met this couple or this woman or this guy who completely exceeded my expectations. And I want this type of experience. And there's everything in between. So for me personally, I want anyone who I'm going to interact with, if it's a couple or a single female, I want you to experience what I bring. I want to be able to speak to you on your level so that I can now pull you into my world and I can give you the Mr. Mocha experience. I don't want to give you the, the other guy's experience, and I think oftentimes as guys, as a guy in the lifestyle, a lot of guys, in my opinion, go wrong because they're talking to a couple and they're trying to figure out how to duplicate an experience that they had with some other guy. Oh, we met this guy and he was this and he was that. And so now you're doing what you think they want you to do. I can't be the Sigma male, no matter how much I would want to be, or no matter how much I admire his style. If I try to do what the Sigma male does, I can at best be second best at that. Now, I can be number one at being Mr. Mocha. I can be number one at providing the experience that is me being my genuine self. So that was my thing. I am not trying to mold myself to their experience. I am trying to provide them my experience. You know, there's 100 different flavors of soda. There's 100 different desserts. So if I'm chocolate, I'm not trying to taste like vanilla. I can only be chocolate. That's all I can be. And so for me, when I start thinking about people saying, I'm trying to mold myself to them, now you're polluting who you are. So that's what I mean when I say I'm not trying to have tools that would make me moldable to their situation. I just want the introduction and to be fluid enough to make them want to experience what I have to offer.
So you're
Outstanding.
you are molding the communication, the interaction at that stage when they're trying to figure out if this is something they want to do, and you're trying to figure out if this is the couple you want to interact with. Those are where your tools lie. But once, like you said, you got them kidnapped in the van.
No,
No.
it's not so much molding. It's this is another place, the common misconception that a lot of people have within the lifestyle. All right, it's basic human interaction. Okay, I am going to talk to you like I would talk to anyone. And if our personalities click, if we have that chemistry, all those things are necessary. And it's interaction, it's relationship. the ship part is something that we have. You have a friendship, you have a relationship, you know, that thing that we create with all other people that we want to talk to. If you go to an amusement park, if you go to play a basketball game, you're going to have an interaction with somebody, and that person is going to have an opportunity to see if they like you or not. This is just a different aspect of life, and it's just a different social setting. So it's not so much me trying to trick a person, it's me speaking to you and seeing how the energy is. And I'm just going to be me. And I know me being me, I am off putting to some people. So if I'm off putting to that person, then they're not the person that should be trying to get into my van, you know? And if that person, if I don't feel that chemistry or that energy that I like, it's not going to work out either. So in the beginning, my main tool is just being me and seeing if you like me. And then once we get into the bedroom, we're going to, do our regular talking and communicating. And then I'm going to have an opportunity to be me. And that's all I can be, because I've said before, when I get into a situation and I have somebody who's trying to, direct my movements, hey, fuck my wife like this, fuck her like that. Hey, man, you want to do this? she don't, she's here for what I do. Like, um, I'm not trying to mimic your dick. If she wants a mimic of your dick, if she wants a mimic of your style, then you should be doing this, and I should go and deal with someone who wants to experience me. So everything comes back to, we're trying to experience each other. You know, I love having sex with my wife. I have sex with my wife as often as possible. But when I go play with somebody else, I'm not looking for somebody who fucks just like my wife. Otherwise, I might as well just keep fucking my wife. Like you looking for something different.
Yeah. I like that. I get that.
Nephew,
Yes, sir.
let me say this. I agree with everything. I love listening to Mocha talk, because I mean, hell, I end up almost getting mesmerized by this shit, because it's so fucking true. But I look at this as like, when I say when we're dealing with a couple, I look at it as like the art of seduction. We're being ourselves. We're being our true selves. But at the same time, though, I know myself. I'm seducing like a motherfucker. I'm using a seduction technique, to find out what this couple's all about. I look at it like, let me see, what can I equate it to? Like being a dancer, giving a performance. You know what I mean? That involves what? Of course, with the couple, first and foremost, respect. Then what? Emotional intelligence. Then what? Shared fantasies, right? You find out everything that there is about the couple. Correct?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Always doing what? You respecting the sanctity of the couple's relationship. You know what I mean? I'm being a great listener. I want to know everything there is about you guys. So I'm listening to every damn thing. Everything. And I'm showing what? I'm showing a genuine interest at all times as to what that I'm, hearing. And then from there, I start throwing that technique in there, that seduction technique. All right. First of all, going into the thing, what am I? I'm confident. I'm sure of myself. I'm sure of my desires, and I'm sure of my value. I think that's something that that most bulls don't go into the situation doing. And correct me, Mocha, if I'm wrong, but knowing your value,
Absolutely.
as that guy that's going to eventually take over the situation, right?
Absolutely.
Here again, like I said, being sure of yourself, your desires, and also show a couple. At least I do. I show a couple a little sensitive side of me when I'm getting to know them. I want them to know Hell, I want to know the Sigma male, but I also want to know Brian Morgan, the man. You know what I mean? So I may even share some, I call it human stuff with them, on the sensitive side. And then from there, as they get comfortable with me, not only her, but him, because it's got to be a two-way street. Then we move forward. We move forward in the seduction process. So that's, to me, is like that's step 8 in that seduction technique. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yep.
One of the most important factors that people leave out is chemistry. When you meet someone, and especially when I'm in that setting, I mean, yes, I'm being myself, but I am flirting. I am attempting to have sex with you. So no, I mean, like my behavior, if you ask my opinion, it's going to be the same, but I'm not going to just kick in the door and walk in the room and start spouting out my opinions. When we're doing a show, it's my job to speak of my opinions, but in person, I am going to be polite. I am going to try to be charming. I am going to be flirty, but I'm still going to be me. And the concept of chemistry is something that is the most important thing in all of these talks. Whenever we're talking about interacting with a couple, chemistry is the main thing, because two guys can walk up and do the same thing, say the same thing, wear the same thing, and look the same way and get completely different responses, because chemistry is a big deal. In fact, the thing I say all the time is the exact same thing that one guy can do. When another dude does it, he's creepy. Okay. When one guy does it, he's sexy. When the other guy does it, he's creepy. And that was a lack of some sort of chemistry. So chemistry is also a big thing. And sometimes, I mean, because you've been in a situation where you're with someone who's extremely physically attractive to you from across the room. Wow, she is gorgeous. But then when we interact, there's nothing wrong with her. She's not mean. She's nice, but there's no chemistry.
Mhm.
And so, when in my rookie season, I would try to go and play with that woman anyways, and my dick be like, I'm good. And now I'm having but that's not, like I said, there's nothing to say there was nothing wrong. It's just a lack of chemistry. Or you see a woman who I don't particularly find her attractive, but then we start talking and interacting, and my dick is tapping on my leg like, hey, this one, choose this one. I'm like, and then we have a phenomenal time, and I want to play with her over and over again. So chemistry to me is huge. And I know a lot of couples get afraid of the word chemistry because they think, I'm trying to fall in love with. No, chemistry is not necessarily just a sexual thing. It's not just a opposite sex thing. Chemistry is something that works everywhere. Chemistry plays a huge role in this thing, as well as learning how to interact, because with it or without it, to me, it's one of the things that is the great divider in being a good bull or not.
Let me say this, Mocha. You can have physical chemistry. You can have physical chemistry, but not have a damn thing in common when it comes to the communication, or you know what I mean, getting the emotional intelligence there. I've had some hellified encounters where it was just they were physically attracted to me, I was physically attracted to them. We really didn't even, other than knowing each other's names, it was fuck city after that, and it was great.
Physical
And it was
chemistry.
fucking
Physical chemistry.
that physical chemistry. But try to meet them again, and have go out to dinner, or just come over, to the crib and chill and get to know each other. I found I was like, damn, and I had one that we just literally laughed at each other. Like, we do not have anything in common other than dick and pussy. That was it. That was it, And yeah, the sexual chemistry can happen. Now the emotional or that if it's not there, it ain't gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? You can't make that happen. You cannot, in my opinion. At least with me. You can't make that happen. And I do agree. When I meet a couple, I will know in a very short period of time if there will be some chemistry there. And I'm not looking for, I know when I meet them whether I'm physically attracted to them, to the wife. I know that immediately. And I know if she likes what she sees immediately, from those little nonverbal cues that I'll get from her. Or she will look at him in a certain way. And I know, okay, that's that look. She likes what she sees and, we're going to start talking. But like I said, if there's nothing there, if we don't have anything, and I'm trying and maybe they're trying, but we're just like, this ain't working, this isn't working. So that's what, and I think a lot of young bulls and even, some seasoned guys sometimes, all they see is the physical and, I want this, I want this, I want this. And maybe it does get to the bedroom, but I guarantee you damn dick isn't gonna respond the way you want it to. It's not. All right. And I can say it. And it's happened to me. And a whole bunch of shit has happened to me before my dick didn't respond. So, chemistry is it's everything. It's everything. Yep.
So going back to kind of why we were talking about this, it's about, so you have your own, you have a program or things that you want them to get on. But talk to me, and I'll ask Mr. Mocha too, but talk to me about what you see when people, like, even, I'm just gonna say, I was the guy before. I was the guy that was like, I'm trying to figure out how to get on their program. So talk to me from the outside looking in. What do you see that kind of like slows people down or makes it harder on them because they have that paradigm of, let me see, how do I qualify for them? Because I know Mr. Mocha's talking about being something you're not, but as far as me, I didn't go in there saying, I'm going to try to mold myself. You end up thinking you have to, or you end up kind of there, but you don't plan to be there. You don't plan to be inauthentic or be somebody you're not. You're just thinking, I like this, the wife's hot, right? The couple has all of these requests or things they want. Let me see if I can do it to get there. So, like, what are you guys seeing on that end? Some of the problems, some of the things that takes longer, some of the things that are frustrating.
I think most bulls here again, they don't know their value. Do you agree with that, Mocha? They don't know their value, their worth. I think a lot of guys here again, and it's actually a compliment to you, Mocha, to you, to guys like yourself, my other bull brothers. I think they look at you and you set the bar so high. And I'm talking about guys that like go to the events and stuff. You know what I mean? And I know guys do this shit because when I first went to Atlanta, I was scoping out the guys who I knew that were the professionals. In other words, and it was very, very easy to pick out Mocha and Dimitri. They stood out. They had that aura, and I knew that I wasn't going to like approach them to talk to them or anything like that, but I was just kind of seeing how they maneuvered around, the AO. And I think these guys here again, they don't know their own value. They don't know how to sit down and this has nothing to be whether you're a Sigma bull or you're Alpha bull or Omega or whatever. You just don't know your worth. You don't know your worth. You don't know that you are the king of kings. Your confidence level isn't there. It's like guys who play basketball. Okay. When I played, although I was a skinny guy, you couldn't tell me that I wasn't the original Stephen Curry out there shooting the basketball. You know what I mean? I knew my worth. I knew my worth. I knew I could shoot. I knew I was good at it. I didn't give a damn who I guarded out there on the court. I just knew my value. Okay. A lot of bulls, here again, they see other guys doing certain things. Sometimes a guy, and here again, Mocha, I'm using you because of the physique that they see. You know what I mean? The look that you bring to the table, they get intimidated. And they think, oh well, I got to go out here now and start lifting all the weights and get my body this way. And don't get me wrong, yes, you should have a body game. You should, but you should have your body game. That's a part of your value. All right, knowing what works for you. They see other guys doing, they're like, hey, I'm gonna try to emulate what this guy does. Don't do that. You're setting yourself up for failure every time. Because like Mr. Mocha said, what I do one way and it works for me, the other guy comes and tries that shit and he looks like a total butthole. He looks like a fool. So I think the biggest thing is knowing your value. And here again, don't be afraid to get out there and talk to that beautiful woman or beautiful couple. If they shoot you down the first time, okay, I got shot down. All right, but then go back to the drawing board and say, okay, well, what did I do wrong? What do I think I did wrong? How did I approach them? Was my approach? Was I too not standoffish, but was I too aggressive? Did I ask the right questions? Look at yourself in the mirror. Was my look right? Et cetera, et cetera. Here again, know your value, get yourself straight first, and then go out there and tackle those couples. That's how I was made.
Mm-hmm. I think that, one thing for guys and couples to understand in that comment, know your value. That is not arrogance, because 15 years ago, my value was not the same. There's years of experience. There's years of mistakes. The mistakes that the guys are making out there, I've made those mistakes.
Evolution.
I've learned. There's a lot of things that I tell guys when I'm talking to guys, don't do, don't accept. And a lot of those things are things that I learned because I accepted them 10 times. There's a reason why I can talk about the husbands who are telling you, fuck her like this, fuck her like that. Because I've been that guy and I'm like, well, something, I'm trying to be respectful. And the husband wants me to fuck her like this. And, fuck her harder. And now I'm listening to this guy and I'm looking at her face. And, she putting the gate up trying to push my hips back. And now I'm in this position where it's like, okay, I don't want to pile drive this lady, and I said it before, I got a guy with a 5-inch dick telling me to break her cervix. I'm not going to do that. But, and I will wind up going soft in the middle of a play date because I got the husband telling me to fuck her a certain way while I'm paying attention to her body and that's not what she wants. It took a long time for me to figure out how to deal with that. Okay, I've also been in the situation when I tell guys don't let the husband be this crazy camera guy. We have a conversation. I don't mind you recording when I play with your wife. And I don't mind you telling me up front, hey, I like to get certain type of angles, but in the beginning I didn't know that. So I'm having sex and the guy's like, hey, well, okay, stop and put her doggy style. Wait.
On the record.
Hey, honey.
On the record.
Yeah, honey, ride him. Yeah, you got the point. And I'm sitting here like, okay, I don't have any rights as the guy because I have been in that position where I had been convinced by the couples that as a guy, you know, how I feel is irrelevant. It's all about the wife. It's all about the wife. No, there are three individuals here, and three individual goes into a mutual verbal contract to come in here and we all have a good time. Okay. But for years, I didn't know that I had an opinion. And so oftentimes I'd have couples asking, oh, why didn't you come back? Because I didn't know that I could be like, dude, you're making it fucking weird. All right, I'm trying to have sex with your wife and you got a camera light over my fucking shoulder. I can't tell you how many husbands have said, these fucking guys show up over here and they can't perform. Motherfucker, your dick don't work on the best day. And you're mad that I can't perform while you're talking and you're shining the camera light in my face. You won't even let my dick get hard before you. So these are things when you start saying know your value. I'm not saying that. We're not saying this in arrogance because there was a time when we didn't know our value. Now when I go into an interaction, it's not with arrogance. It's with, hey, here's the deal. Tell me what you're into because we all have to have a good time here. I don't go and say, look, this is how I'm doing it. No, I go into an arrangement with a couple. I'm interested. I want to know what the husband likes. Okay, you like video. Cool. What positions do you like to get? Because I may try to put her in those positions. And I'll tell you what, I'm happy to do the cameras, to be on camera. I'm on camera. My dick's all over the internet. Okay, I'm cool with that. However, I need a second for it to warm up. I need a second to get in the headspace. So if you give me a minute, and then that's cool. All of these things, these were years of experiences. And I'm not talking about 5 or 10 experiences. This was hundreds of experiences with, over hundreds of couples. So I don't want to come across as me being arrogant and saying know your value because I've spoke to couples before. You hear some dude that's 23 years old just because he's in great shape and he's got a huge dick and he fucks like an animal. He doesn't have enough life experience to do all the shit that you want him to do and know all the stuff you want him to know. And then you go, oh, some this guy, this bull ain't shit. This bull's only had 15 or 20 experiences with different couples. He is in his rookie season. He is confident in what he does, but he doesn't have enough experience yet to give you the experience you want. And most couples aren't willing to help somebody by giving them advice. They just expect every guy to show up, and they think that every dude has had 10 years of practice with a couple exactly like them with their exact dynamics, and they feel like, well, he can't come in and please my wife. He don't know what he's doing. So we go back to, as a guy, know your value and know when you haven't had enough experience to offer. And then that means there's more communication. Hey, I definitely want to do a good job and I want to be invited back. This is the experience I've had. So you guys can kind of tell me what you like and we can kind of figure it out together. It's going to be a lot of years of figuring it out with couples before you can come in and go, oh, I've been with a couple similar to this. I've been with 20 couples similar to this. I think I kind of know how to work this. So that's when we say know your value, don't think this is arrogance. This is a whole lot of Mr. Mocha falling on his fucking face, walking out of situations, not knowing that I could walk out of situations, being, I have, and I feel bad to say this, I can't tell you how many couples I had ghosted because they just made the shit way too uncomfortable. And back when I was in my rookie season, like, I'm not going back into that drama. And then I don't know how to politely say, no, I don't want to come back because your husband's being a fucking weirdo. Or no, I don't want to come back because your wife is not communicating, but she expects me to know exactly what's happening while the husband is. I didn't know how to say that early on. So that's what I mean about knowing your value.
Exactly. I absolutely agree. Um, and gentlemen, for the gentlemen listeners out there, our gentlemen bulls, it's just what Mocha was saying. No, I know he are not trying to be, sound arrogant or anything like that. And yes, you will learn through evolving. You hear me talk about that all the time. As you get older, the more experiences you have, you will learn. And as you learn, gentlemen, don't be afraid to speak what's on your mind. Right? Don't if you have, like Mocha was saying, the porn director who is standing over you. I've had that shit before. I cannot perform with a husband like walking all around me with the camera, taking pics, taking the close-ups, and then going back and then going, especially if you're getting like behind me. I can't perform. I can't perform. When I first started out with my little escort gig, I had trouble. I had trouble with that a few times. And I went back to my handler and I was like, what should I do about this? And she was saying, baby, tell them, tell them you're young. You know what I mean? You're young. This is your first time doing this. So I went back and I was able to sit down and have my checklist as to, this is what I'm comfortable with. This is what I'm not comfortable with. It takes me a minute to get going, for some things. Some things I respond faster with, et cetera, et cetera. So don't get embarrassed. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't get embarrassed if things don't go your way those first 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. All right. It's a part of learning. It's a part of evolving. And that is what makes you that quality bull later on in life, because you have had all of those experiences and you know how to navigate, like Mocha said. Um, and I can't go any further because Mocha hit everything. So take it over, nephew.
Yeah, that was good stuff. We're gonna be cognizant of time because I know Mr. Mocha got some business.
No,
But
I'm good.
Exactly. You got
I'm
some
good.
business to take care of.
I'm good. I got 15 more minutes.
yeah. So we're probably gonna do a couple of more episodes of this because I got whole other categories of things that I want to go over this one. So I'll say it this way. Well, I'll ask him a question this way. So, Mr. Mocha, this is what I saw for myself, and I just want you to kind of put a little commentary on this. What I notice is it's the road you start off in the road of learning about the person. And what I'm saying is when you come with the mentality of I'm trying to get on their program, I'm trying to qualify for them, you end up in a place where you are actually inauthentic because they have all of their sets of needs and desires and wants and everything. And if you're a bull in the lifestyle, if you're in a dynamic where you're expected to be the leader, then what hit me was, well, you're expected to have a program, right? But when you go in there trying to see, well, what's theirs and how can I fit into it? I ended up being like, well, I don't want to do that. But like you said, I need to be nice. I don't know if I could do that. I've never done that. I don't know if I'm feeling that. I've never tried it. But let me see if I can try it and act like I'm liking it. So what are some of the problems you see when you see a lot of bulls going in there saying, well, let me see what I can do to kind of fit, knowing that they don't want to be authentic, but they kind of end up in a place they don't really want to be in?
So now those are two different things. So here's the thing. Like early on, if you're still learning as a bull, you are going to wind up in a lot of situations where you're like, holy shit. Because I've had a whole lot of holy shit moments as a bull. Like that's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of times when you're introduced to some new shit. And here's the thing. That's the beauty on the other side of that. When you're meeting a couple, you're not going in and saying, I'm the fucking boss, we're going to do what I want. No, it's still an exchange. There's still an exchange of sexual energy. There's still an exchange of sexual experiences. I'm not saying do that now. It's a completely different thing. You wind up in a situation where somebody like, hey, let's try this. And I'm like, whoa. I don't do that. You're like, hey, nah, I'm cool. Like, and here's the thing. If you have been a bull in the lifestyle long enough, no matter how freaky you think you are, or how wild you think you are, somebody's gonna introduce some shit that you're gonna be like, nah, I'm not cool with that. It's just how it works. So when you are confronted, there's a difference between being confronted with new stuff where people go, hey, would you mind trying this? Or would you be interested in doing this? Because as a bull and an individual, you still have the ability to go yes or no. That's how you're going to get your experiences. So early on, you are going to go into a lot of situations because you're trying to figure out who you are as a bull.
Mm-hmm.
You can still be dominant and go into a situation because it's like, I'm going to ask everybody, what do you like? What are you into? And every once in a while, somebody's like, I like this. And you're like, well, I've never done that before, but fuck it, let's give it a shot. So you're a lot of things that you do. This is why it's a time thing. You're going to go into a whole lot of situations attempting to accommodate people on your journey to see what you're into, because if you start at the very beginning, the concept of sticking your dick in somebody's life is a little weird. Even if you fantasize your whole life, the first time you do it, it's a little weird. So that's something that's new. And then as a bull, the first time you're in a situation and you hear a wife completely degrading her husband, that's crazy. Okay, then you step up to the first time you're in a situation where you're trying to fuck the wife and she's telling you, yeah, tell him how I'm miserable and how weak he is. And I'm like, wait, you want me to do commentary and maintain an erection? Wait, what? So within his lifestyle, you are constantly being introduced to new things. We're always getting introduced to new things and new styles. Hey, look, I can give you a list of things that, hey, there's some things that I've seen or some requests that I've gotten where I'm like, holy shit, are you joking? Like you know, so you're going to be constantly, and then somebody may offer some shit that you're like, huh, well, that's not my thing. Hell, the first time I ever pissed on somebody's husband, like, hey, will you piss on my husband? I'm like, that's kind of weird, but explain this to me, so she like, it really turned me on. So she puts the poor bastard in the tub and she's standing there holding it for me. And my brain was like, I'll try, but I couldn't do it. Like, I couldn't do it, and then, over time, she would be talking to me and telling me how she fantasizes about me doing it and how wet she gets and how she squirts thinking about it. And she inspired me to go and piss on her husband and then fuck the hell out of her. So you're going to be introduced to some new shit that you may or may not be okay with. So I'm not saying go into it with a closed mind, because you do want to leave knowing that you gave them an amazing experience. With me, oftentimes, I will say, go into it with an open mind, but still, if you're the bull, be able to say no, be able to say, okay, cool, I'm okay with doing this thing, but I am still going to be me, and I am still my dominant self. So it's with anything sexual and dealing with other human beings in this type of situation, everything is kind of nuanced because I'm a dominant person by nature, but everything I know about sex, some woman taught me. you know,
Amen.
you know, and now
Amen.
I take the experience from all of those women and I learn to combine them, and I've taken experience from all the couples, the good and the bad experiences, and I learned to combine them into my style, and so if you're new to this, if you're a new bull, understand it's gonna take you time. And the more inexperienced bulls, yes, you definitely have to be able to go in and experience and learn what different couples like, because I went into it and learned what so many different couples liked. Then I have this reservoir of experience that helps me know what I don't want, what I don't like, and identify the type of couple I do want to be with or don't want to be with. Now, no matter how old you are as a bull, if you just came into the lifestyle and you've been in it for 2 or 3 years, yeah, you better have you have to have the mentality that I'm gonna go in and learn how as many couples out there want to do it, because it doesn't mean you can't be in control of the situation. It doesn't mean you can't be dominant. This is a lot of it is an experience thing.
And they're going to expect you because of your age. If you are a little bit older, they're going to go into that already thinking that you know a few things. Am I right or
Mhm.
wrong, Mocha? They're
Oh
going
my
they're
God,
going to
yeah.
expect you because of your age, because you're seasoned age wise, that you know some things. Even though you may have been in this, for a year, 2, 3 years, whatever. Now don't get me wrong, you're going to be able to adapt and learn a hell of a lot quicker than that younger guy. I kind of wish that I would have gotten into this later in life rather than age 26. Because I thought I knew, and I think I told you before, nephew, I thought everything about sex involved being a porn star, what I saw on porn, and I was so fucking wrong. I was so wrong. So here again, I had to be like Mocha. I had to learn through trial and error. Thank God my handler had patience with me. Um, because she did. She taught me. She taught me. She taught me a whole bunch of things. I knew the physical, but I had to learn the emotional. I had to learn. I had to learn how to read couples. I had to learn how to talk to husbands. I had to learn how to read body language. Um, and here again, for a couple of years, I had to do. Uh, there were some times where I had to deal with some couples that I was not necessarily attracted to. Because I was in a certain field where I had to perform. You know what I mean? Um, so that's the evolution. It just all boils down. It boils down to the evolution. And I think that was one of our topics at one time, wasn't it? The
Yep.
evolution of becoming a quality bull.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this boils down to. That's what it boils down to. Um, and it is all about patience. It is all about, like Mocha said, learning through trial and error. You know, but once you have put together your package, your equation that works for you, you'll be knocking things out of the park. You'll be knocking
Mhm.
things out of the park. I don't care, and I don't care like what type of couple that it is. I don't care what type of couple that is. I don't care what type of couple. I don't care what the couple's looking for. You'll be able to immediately latch on to that and blend right in. Just blend right in and be able to give them that, whether it be the boyfriend experience or just providing some good dick for a while, or just a companionship type of thing. Because a lot of times, man, the couples they want that third party to just hang out with. You know, the sex might come later, but they want that third party to hang out with, believe me. And that's more fun, man. God damn, that's fun as hell. When you go somewhere and it's the three of you all and everybody's looking at you like, what the fuck is this? I read about it, but I'm seeing this, you know what I mean? So evolution,
Yeah.
that's what it's all about. Evolution. Mastering the art of seduction, finding your sweet spot as the what equation works for you, and then going from there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Go
I
ahead, Mocha.
definitely agree. I definitely agree. You know, because it's interesting when you think about. I think a lot of people forget when you're talking about a guy. Okay, when you're looking through a man's lens, very few men are singular in their sexual play style. So as a guy, all right, I may want a woman who I just want to. I can go in and just fuck. I can go in and have a conversation. I can be sensual. I can be all of these different things. So it's not like we're usually one way. And as a guy, for me personally, I always wanted to know that I had the ability to bring a woman pleasure. Like that's a big deal for me.
Number one thing.
So before the lifestyle, you know, I started off as a massage therapist. That's what I did first. I'm a very touchy feely person. I like to touch a woman's body. Like I want to know all the ways she likes pleasure. So it's very easy for you to be adaptable to a woman's sexual desires because that's what we want. You know, as a bull, we want to be able to go in and offer her an experience better than as best that we can. The thing that makes you different as a bull is you are trying to physically satisfy the wife, but you are emotionally giving the husband a sensation.
No sensation. Yep.
It's three people here. His gratification is coming through secondhand sex. So a bull is not just a penis. If you're a successful bull is not just a penis. A successful bull understands that you're trying to bring the wife physical pleasure while giving this husband this, whether it gives him some sort of bottom line, it's still sexual. It's still sexual for him. He's still getting sexual pleasure. Let's just say it what it is. I mean, guys don't like the way it sounds. I've said this to guys before. I'm not giving him sexual gratification. Shut the fuck up. You are giving him sexual gratification. If he in the corner with a cage on, or if he's standing there stroking his dick, watching you fuck his wife, you are giving him sexual gratification. His is more, you know, cerebral that turns into physical while you are giving her physical. And you are, as a bull, if you're taking on the bull moniker, you're learning how to satisfy both of them. Okay. And the way you do that is by learning and practicing and experiencing. And if you're the kind of guy who had the ability to talk to a woman in the vanilla world because that wife still requires the same thing, and oftentimes the husband wants to see it, or if you go into a situation where the husband is like, look, I just want you to come in and fuck my wife, you know, that's what our dynamic is. I'm comfortable with that as well. You know, as a bull, you're going to wear different hats, but you get to choose what hats you wear. There are going to be some couples. I turn down couples online every day. Let me rephrase that. I don't mean every day because I don't get people don't reach out to me every day. Excuse me. I turn down more couples online than I will accept for the simple fact that they come at me in a way that is not okay with me. I literally had a guy send me a message on FetLife the other day. Hey, I see you play with hot wives. I'm glad. I'm gonna send some pictures of my wife later on so we can get together. Go fuck yourself. Who the fuck you talking to? You know, now I know a lot of guys, if the wife is hot enough, he's gonna deal with that. Me, I don't give a fuck how hot she is. There's certain things I'm not gonna do. So when I start talking about me bringing people into my style of playing, I have many hats that I can wear. Ideally, you want to experience me while I'm wearing one of my many caps. But if you try to make me do some shit that I'm not trying to adapt to some shit that I'm not into. I'm not trying to go into a tool bag and go, yeah, I know this the kind of guy that wants me to do this or that, but I don't like it. But man, I really want to fuck his wife. No, fuck that. Ain't no pussy that good. Ain't no pussy that good. I've had too much of it. I can say no. I can turn it down.
And what does that come down to, nephew? Knowing your what? Knowing your value,
worth.
right?
Knowing your value. Yep.
Knowing your worth. That's it. That is it. Knowing your value, knowing your worth, man. Damn, I can't come back with nothing to say after Mocha. Mocha's just hitting the holy grail right now. I can't come back with anything. You know what I mean? I tell you,
I like running my mouth.
but brother, when it's the gospel, there ain't nothing for me to damn say. I think it's safe to say, ladies and gentlemen, that Mr. Mocha and I are really the exact same type of quality bull. We may do things a little differently. We may present things a little differently, but we are the exact same. I think I can say honestly that he's like me when it comes to the pleasure thing. It is all about the woman's pleasure for me. I have to get her off. I need to get her off. Okay. Couples please me when they reach out to me. When they reach out to me the right way.
Oh, yeah.
And here again, that was what Mocha was saying a few minutes ago. We know our value, we know our worth, and you're just not going to come off on me and basically tell me, okay, I'm gonna send pictures and you gonna do this, so we're gonna get together, da da da. Yeah, fuck you and die. All right. Pussy's like a savings account. Okay. I'll make a withdrawal, the interest is gone. So don't think that you're gonna, come here and tell me what the hell I'm gonna do with your wife. No, approach me here again, approach me like the gentleman husband that you should be. And then we go from there, we talk, we establish a rapport, and then you can show me that lovely wife of yours. And if we get together and there's some chemistry, then here we go from there. But
Amen. Listen, thank you. See, thank you. Thank you.
I mean, that's it. That is
You
it.
made it sound so simple. I know I be making that shit sound complicated, but if you do what he just said, for those couples who I pretend like I didn't see your message, I'll probably respond. I will probably respond. If I don't, maybe there was not a mutual attraction. But when you know that your life is hot and you're like, oh, I had somebody message like, my wife looks like the girls on the women in your videos. Why won't you respond to me? Because you're a dick. That's why I won't respond to you. Because you're not hitting me with the basic, hi, how are you? My name is.
Exactly.
My wife. It's not that hard.
Exactly. You're looking at me as only a dick. All right. You're taking that term bull and you're actually making that shit fucking derogatory in a way. Because you're looking at me as only a piece, just a dick. You know what I mean? Just a penis. And I just need you for your damn penis. Okay. And here again, fuck you and die. All right.
Can we do part 2 on just that topic? Now you preaching the gospel.
We can. We will definitely do part 2 on just that topic. But yeah, there's just, I am more than just providing penis. Okay. Matter of fact, that's the last thing on my fucking mind. We will get to that. But I want you to get to know me, not just the bull, but I want you to know me. I want you to be able to trust me, et cetera, and then we go from there. We got to have the damn communication. We have to have the established of rapport. We have to have the trust. We have to have the whole 9 yards before I deal with you. That's it. That is it. I don't care how damn fine your damn wife is. I don't care. All right. I give her that compliment. Beautiful lady. But until we establish all of that, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Because I passed the BBC Bull stage a long time ago. I passed that. I had that shit when I was escorting. And to be honest with you, it kind of got old quick. Kind of got old really, really quick. So, this is where we are now. And I say we because, like I said, Mocha's in the same boat. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to toot our horn, ladies and gentlemen. It takes a lot. It really does. And here again, not trying to sound conceited or arrogant or anything like that. But when you talk to the three of us, we are the definition of what that quality bull is. Period. Facts. End of story. Drop the mic. Drop the mic.
Listen, I'm with you because it's the experience at this point. I mean, I can have as much sex as I want, but given experience is what I want to do.
That's it. That is it. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call it a night. As we said before, Mr. Mocha has a few things to do, but please tune in to part 2. He will be back in the very near future, and we will continue this conversation. As for myself, the Sigma male, I am calling out all my quality bulls out there. You've heard us, all right? We speaking the gospel. For nephew, Socrates, myself, and Mr. Mocha, to all the bulls out there, good night. To all my hot wives, ladies out there, good morning. Until we talk again, I'll be to say cheers. Bye-bye.